Rock every day with Sunday Guitars, located in the bustling heart of Bend, Oregon. We are your ultimate destination for everything music. Listen to guitars strumming, drums thumping, and bass rocking. We have it all. Looking for a band instrument? We've got you covered with our program. Want to master your skill? Our lessons are unparalleled. Have a broken instrument? Repair services will get it on track. Our welcoming, experienced staff will cater to all your professional music necessities. Sunday Guitars, where every day is a jam session. Visit us on Greenwood Avenue in Bend, Oregon, or at sundayguitars.com.
Hello, everybody! Oh, how much fun is that? Very much. That's how much. Very much. Thank you for joining me. Rockipedia with David Miller, currently brought to you by Sunday Guitars, local music store right here in Bend, Oregon. That's where I'm doing this from. Bend, Oregon, Central Oregon, right in the middle of the state. And we're about a little over 100,000 people here, maybe 115, 130, I don't know, 100 and something. We reached 100,000 about 2 years ago. So still somewhat of a mid-sized town, I guess. But we have a burgeoning music scene. There's lots of fun stuff here, so it's fun to be here. And that's kind of what inspired some of the Rockipedia thing was. I'm going to tell you all about me here in a minute. But let's talk about what the show's going to be. The show's going to be fun is what it's going to be first. So you're going to notice me looking here and looking there and looking over here and looking there. And here's where you are. That's you right there. I'm looking up at a big TV on my wall, which has everything on it because I'm old and I need to be able to see things large. This is the large print version of a podcast for me. I have my computer down here, the laptop, where I'm actually doing all the action. And then, of course, the mic and you, the camera, right there in between. So anyway, we're going to have fun. Sunday Guitars, I used to work there. Full disclosure, I used to work at Sunday Guitars. Of course, we're still family, and I love those guys. And Ted, the owner over there, is a really nice gentleman who will do everything he can to help you in whatever situation you're in. That's the kind of guy he is. So the customer service there is top notch. Head over to Sunday Guitars if you need any equipment, or if you need a new instrument, or if you just need somebody to make you laugh and talk to you about music. They like to do that too. Let's see. I one of the guitars on the back wall I got at Sunday, that 12 string right there. I got it at Sunday Guitars. All right. So now let's get to the other thing that we're going to want to talk about. And that is, who the hell is David Miller? That's what you want to know. Who is this guy and why should he have a podcast? Well, because I got the equipment. No. So let's start with this beginning. All right. I was born in Klamath Falls, Oregon. That's about an hour and a half or so, 2 hours south of here, where I'm at now. But don't think that I just jumped 2 hours and that's all I did in life, because that's not true. No. So I was born in Klamath Falls. I lived there till I was 5 years old. Around 5 years old is when I kind of discovered a love of music. Music was always around the house. My mom loved music and listened to music, and I can remember dancing around the house all the time. My dad loved his country and some of his stuff like the Eagles and that kind of stuff he was really into. And so there was music going on in my house. And I was born in 1968. So 68, 69, 70, so 1, 2, 3. So 73. Around that time. So that era of music is what was going on in my house, and everything from the 60s. So the Stones and the Animals and all that good stuff. So I first started realizing I could make noise and kind of make something that sounded like music when I was 5. And I did that with my aunt. There was a recording, I should say. There was a recording of me at 5 years old singing in a completely inappropriate song called Put Another Log on the Fire by Paul Michael Glaser. He was part of Paul Michael Glaser was somebody else. He he was part of the Outlaw album. Waylon Jennings, Jesse Coulter, Willie Nelson, and Tom Paul Glaser. That's his name. He wrote it. Put another log on the fire. Most misogynistic song ever, but with tongue in cheek. But so here I am at 5 years old with my aunt playing guitar, and I'm singing "Put Another Log on." So that was a recording, but it was a recording on an 8-track. That's how old David is, kids. It was an 8-track, and my parents had a big console, and if you held down the record button and put the tape in at the same time, you could record, and a little microphone. And so my aunt played guitar, and I sang this song. Now, because 8-tracks don't hold up over time, there is no evidence of this. I never got to hear it after probably, I don't know, after I was 15, 16, I think is the last time I heard it. But it existed, and that was the first performance of David Miller in music. Then I got into music a little heavier. I was listening to, kids' albums and stuff. But Elvis Presley really hit me at 7 years old, right around 6 or 7. I remember my parents and my mom's family. Elvis was a deity to my mom's family. So we would get, I remember the via satellite from Hawaii. That concert was going to be on TV, CBS, I believe. And this was when it was happening live. Yes, that's how old David is too. So I'm like 7, 8 years old, somewhere around there. And I remember it being a huge thing that my parents packed me up, packed some food, like we're going to a church potluck, head over to my grandma's house. We have a huge dinner. The whole family's there, all my aunts and uncles and cousins, everybody's there. And we watch the Elvis show. And that was the moment I knew I wanted to be a musician of some sort. At that point, I wanted to be Elvis, because that's what you do when you're 7, 8 years old. And so I really got into Elvis the Christmas of either right before I turned 7, because my birthday is today. I'm dropping this episode today on my birthday, January 13th. So my birthday's in January. So it was either the Christmas right before my birthday or the Christmas after in my 7th year. So I was either about to be 7 or 7 when I got my first guitar. And I started taking lessons right away. Took lessons for, I don't know, a couple of years probably. There was a wonderful lady in Lakeview named Shirley Stewart. And her and her husband owned a restaurant in Lakeview called Pizza Villa. And it was a local hangout. All of the kids hung out there. It was a huge part of my childhood. And they owned it. And her right hand had gotten caught in a meat grinder. I know it's horrible, isn't it? And she barely her hand kind of looked like that. And I'm not trying to be cruel or anything. That's kind of what her hand looked like. This lady could play guitar, piano, drums better than most of the people I know now, better than I can now. She could do it then. She was amazing. And she was just the nicest, sweetest lady that wanted you to succeed, but she required you to work, so you had to get it down. And here I am, I'm going in and she's giving me Tom Dooley and all these, older songs, the basic stuff, Ghost Riders in the Sky, the Hawaii Five-0 theme, single note stuff, trying to teach me like she would teach anyone else. And I'm over here chomping at the bit because I want to go play the stuff I'm into. And what am I into at that point? Right here, baby. Kiss. Yeah. I saw the Paul Lynde Halloween special, 1976. And I watched it because Witchy Poo was going to be on it from H.R. Puffin stuff. Sid and Marty Krofft. These two guys. So these guys, we're going to make children's shows. And then they did a ton of drugs and made the weirdest shows you could ever see. I know that's what happened. I don't know that for sure, but it seems like it. In hindsight, watching these shows that I was into, there was a talking flute, a big guy that looks like something out of the McDonald's commercial. It was crazy. But Witchy Poo was on there, and I loved that show. So Witchy Poo was going to be on the Paul Lynde Halloween special. I love Halloween. Love me some Witchy Poo. Tuning in. I don't know Kiss at this point. I don't even know if I was aware of their existence at all. And Witchy Poo comes out and introduces Kiss, and they do Detroit Rock City, and it's full on. I should have the video up. Really, it's awesome. But go look it up. Go look it up. And think about so in 76, I was 8. So think about an 8-year-old, and that's how he's introduced to something. And to this day, I've seen them 5 times. I have a cabinet in my bedroom full of Kiss collectibles. I'm wearing a Kiss shirt for my first episode of this show. I'm still a Kiss fan. And we're going to get to talking about what Kiss has done recently. Don't worry, we'll get there. So anyway, Kiss became a huge thing. And at one point, my bedroom, you couldn't see any wall or ceiling. All you could see was Kiss. Pictures, everything Kiss. If Kiss was on it, I had it. And so I went through that for a long time. And then as I got a little bit older, got into junior high school, I started branching out into other stuff. AC/DC became huge. Black Sabbath became huge. A lot of that stuff. Then the walls started mixing in some stuff like Van Halen and Motley Crue and different visuals and some of the girls in bikini posters, your Heather Thomases and your Farrah Fawcett's that were big back in my day. That stuff, and around that time is when I started, I was good enough on guitar to start playing in front of people. It's a great story. So 5th grade, I take my guitar to school, and my 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Lawrence, had this really cool thing set up that it was like in a big inflatable room. So inside her classroom, she would inflate this big room. So it was like the ultimate fort for, kids. And she would let us go in there and hang out. If we did good on our school, whatever we were doing, she would, during free time, she would say, oh, you guys can go and hang out in there. In hindsight, it was like putting a bunch of school-age kids, elementary school kids, junior high kids. We were 5th grade, a bunch of 5th graders in a big Ziploc bag. I don't know how she didn't get in trouble for that stuff, but it was fun. And so I was sitting in there playing guitar, and some of the kids were, and I was playing Alice Cooper, a song called Cold Ethel. Yeah. Well, as you do in 5th grade. So there was an alert called out to my mother. A similar story. My guitar teacher, Shirley, wants me to play in a rehearsal or a recital. Recital. Wants me to play in a recital. And I want to play Alice Cooper, Welcome to My Nightmare. I was in a big Alice Cooper phase. Well, and here's Shirley. I'm coming in with these Kiss songbooks, and I want to learn this Alice Cooper song. And all I've got's the cassette, and she's trying to figure this stuff out. And she's a 40, 50-year-old woman that has no idea about that music at all. I think Anne Murray was probably more her speed. But man, she was a trooper. And so she's like, great, you should do that song. And I said, and I want to do it in a cloak with like Alice Cooper kind of makeup on. She said, great, go right ahead. That'll be great. We're going to do it in the junior high auditorium. All the families are going to be, it's going to be fantastic. So about a week before the scheduled recital, something happens at the school and causes us to not be able to use the gymnasium. I believe it was a plumbing issue, if I remember correctly. And so we were going to have to move to another facility, which ended up being the Presbyterian Church. You can kind of see how this is going to play out, right? So here I am, going to be in a cloak, Alice Cooper makeup, playing my nylon acoustic guitar. I'm a 5th grader, remember? And I'm going to be doing that in a church. I saw no problem with it. My teacher asked me, are you sure you want to do that? I said, yes, I do. And she said, then you should do it. Because that's the kind of lady Shirley was. My mother, on the other hand, was not thrilled with the idea. But I followed through. And I did the performance at the Presbyterian Church. And yes, after that, my mother got endless shit over the idea that her son had done that in a church. And that set the tone for most of my childhood after that. So fast forward, I'm in bands. At 14 years old, I start playing in bars. Well, the first time I sang in a bar, I was 14. There was a bar in Lakeview called the Indian Village, and there were bands that would come up from Northern California a lot, sometimes to the Valley in Portland, Eugene, Salem, that area. They would come over and play. And they would stay at hotels. And I figured out what hotels the bands would normally stay in. And I would go hang out there. And just I wanted to be around musicians, and there just weren't any in Lakeview. So I would just go hang out with those guys, and we'd talk and visit. And they thought this kid was funny, you know, riding down there on his bike with a guitar strapped to him. And they'd let me jam out with them at the hotel room and stuff. And after a while, they got comfortable with me, and they said, "Hey, you should come up and sing with us." And I'm like, "Well, I can't because I'm 14. They said, "Well, yeah, actually you can. If we bring you in, put you on stage, you sing, and then when you go outside, there's no problem." And I'm like, "Oh, really? Cool." So 14 years old, I sing an AC/DC song on stage at the Indian Village in Lakeview, and I'm sold. Completely sold. I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm doing forever. Forever I'm doing this. And so by the time I'm 16, I get into a band with a bunch of guys that are the age I am now. Today is my birthday. I'm dropping this on my birthday. I am 56 years old today. Born in 1968. So I was in bands with guys who were in their mid 40s, early 50s, a couple of them in their 30s. My buddy, who was 2 years older than me, him and I were the young guys in this band, and we were doing covers. We played around Lakeview, Klamath, Bly, that kind of area, and cut our teeth that way. You know, I'm 16 years old. Actually, the first gig I did with those guys, I was not quite 16, because I remember vividly, the leader of the band, Eddie Allen, great guy. I learned so much from Eddie Allen. His daughter, Rocky, was a friend of mine in school. We went to school together. And then he was in his mid 40s. He had been through a lot. He was in a band called Peach Pomade. They had a little regional hit with Queen of the Silver Dollar back in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s. And he lived a hard life. He drank a lot. And I've got some crazy Eddie Allen stories. But this one takes the cake. It's the first time I've done a gig with him. So we'd been together maybe 3 or 4 months. We practiced in a guy's basement. And we go to Bly, which is about 45 minutes to an hour from our hometown. It's in between Lakeview and Klamath Falls, if you're looking on a map. And we go over there, and we're playing a bar called the Sagebrush Inn. And we get done with the gig, and Eddie is just trashed. And he had this 69 Mercury Cougar. I remember this very vividly because I always thought it was a second-rate Mustang. And he used to get pissed at me when I give him crap about his second-rate Mustang. But so here I am, 15. I have my permit, but I have not gotten my license yet. And I rode to the gig with Eddie. Everyone else has bailed, and so it's just Eddie and I at the bar. And I'm faced with the idea that, okay, well, Eddie's too drunk to drive, and I'm 15, and I'm an hour away from home. And this is a 1969 Mercury Cougar that I know nothing about. So I drove home from Bly with a 45-year-old man passed out with his head in my lap. I shit you not. Yeah, that was my experience for my first gig out with a real band. And he was talking to me for a good 3 or 4 miles. And then he just started fading. And the more he faded, the more he kind of fell over towards me. Oh. And then pretty soon he was snoring on my lap. And I didn't know what to do. I just kept driving. But can you imagine if I would have got pulled over? 15-year-old kid driving the 1969 Mercury Cougar with a middle-aged older man passed out in his lap. So the adventure started for rock and roll. That was the one. That is right there as I can pinpoint the first living the rock and roll lifestyle adventure. So I spent several years in Lakeview, you know, so I was 16 there. I stayed in Lakeview till I was 18. Moved to Portland in 1987, and I was going to be a rock star. I swore I was going to be a rock star.
Rock every day with Sunday Guitars, located in the bustling heart of Bend, Oregon. We are your ultimate destination for everything music. Listen to guitars strumming, drums thumping, and bass rocking. We have it all. Looking for a band instrument? We've got you covered with our program. Want to master your skill? Our lessons are unparalleled. Have a broken instrument? Repair Services will get it on track. Our welcoming, experienced staff will cater to all your professional music necessities. Sunday Guitars, where every day is a jam session. Visit us on Greenwood Avenue in Bend, Oregon, or at sundayguitars.com.
Sunday Guitars presents Rockipedia with David Miller. That's me. Hi. All right. Thank you to Sunday Guitars for bringing this opportunity for me to talk to you about stuff. And in this segment, we're going to talk about this stuff. Look what I found. This is my new music segment where I will feature a artist that I just discovered or recently discovered. Sometimes maybe someone I rediscovered. That happens too. So each time I'll have a different artist and we'll talk. We'll look at some video, listen to some audio, and enjoy learning about new music. If you have already heard of these artists, that just means you got there first, and I'd love to hear about that. In the comments, you can do that. And also in the comments, make sure you share your favorite new artists with me, and perhaps I'll feature them on a future edition of Look What I Found. So today, our artist is Jelusic. But first, I want to introduce you to our sponsor. For Look What I Found in this episode of Rockipedia, our sponsor is the Northside Bar and Grill. Now, this is a very special place to me because it's right here in my hometown. It is a place I've played with my bands and performed music at and hung out. It's kind of my cheers, and I've been in there and out of there since it opened. My band at the time when it opened, I believe back in like 2008 or so, I had a band called Bad Influence, and we were the second band to ever play in that bar after it opened, and I've played there pretty much 8 to 10 times a year since then. So it's a very cool place to me, and they are also kind enough to support me in my endeavors, and they're helping to bring Look What I Found to you guys.
Grill, an enduring local tradition for over 15 years, nestled in the heart of Northeast Bend, Oregon. We're more than a bar, we're a full-service experience uniting food, drinks, and entertainment. Our diverse food menu caters to all palates, while our bartenders pour the best drinks in town. Every Wednesday, we shine a spotlight on local talent with Mellow Wednesday. We liven up the weekends with music and dancing on Thursday and Saturday. For sports enthusiasts, we offer multiple screens for football and more. Try your luck with Oregon Lottery, the Northside Bar and Grill located on Boyd Acres in Bend, or on our website, northsidebarfun.com.
Thank you, Northside. Thank you so much for bringing us Look What I Found. Now, our artist this week is Jelusic, and I found them through the singer Dino Jelusic. And Dino is a fantastic singer, and he's been doing like session stuff and fill-in stuff for bands you'd know. Like he was a fill-in guy and keyboard player for Whitesnake on their last tour. They were doing a farewell tour. David Coverdale was doing, and they had to stop because of health problems. And Dino moved on from that and went into some other things. He was in Trans-Siberian Orchestra a few years ago. He may have been in that more than once. But I discovered him during COVID, and the way I discovered Dino is through a cover of a song called Jane by Jefferson Starship, and he teamed up with Mike Portnoy and Joel Hoekstra, and they teamed up together to do this on Zoom. You know how all the musicians were getting together and doing online jams and stuff during COVID? Well, this is one of them, and this is a fairly cool one of them. I enjoyed it a lot, and you'll see how powerful this kid's voice is. And I call him a kid because he is. He also plays bass and keyboards on this, and he's an amazing bass and keyboard player. So please enjoy with me. This is Dino Jelusic, Mike Portnoy, and Joel Hoekstra. Joel Hoekstra used to be in Night Ranger and Whitesnake, and he's just finished up a tour with Trans-Siberian Orchestra. And of course, Mike Portnoy is the drummer in Dream Theater, just returned to Dream Theater recently. And he also is in an amazing band, one of my favorites, called Winery Dogs. So here they are doing Jane. We'll listen to a little bit of this, and then I'll get you into some new Dino Jelusic material. Hey, you're listening to Rockipedia. Just a powerful voice on this kid. And some of the runs he does on keys and bass. Woo! Gotta love Joel Hoekstra's bobbleheads of himself. Yeah, us guitar players have no ego whatsoever. That's fun stuff. All right, so there's a little bit of how I discovered Dino Jelusic, and man, that's good stuff. I really enjoy watching those guys, and seeing him sing is amazing. So now I want to turn you on to something else. He's got his new band, Jelusic, right? I've been telling you about that the last couple minutes. And it's him and Ivan Keller, Luka Broderick, and Mario. I'm not going to attempt your last name. They make up the band. They're all from Croatia, and they released an album just recently. I'm going to give you little bits of details about these artists as I'm doing the podcast, because I want you to have the fun of discovery. I want you to go find them. So I'm not going to tell you the album title, but I will play the next single for you. And that's pretty cool. I think, anyway. I think it's kind of nice of me to do that kind of stuff. This is called Died. It's brand new, and this is Jelusic, so check it out. Heavy metal. Great chorus coming up here too. One more chance, one more prayer for broken walls beyond repair. One last dance, then I'll step aside inside those. So a very cool video, very heavy song, but it's melodic. I dig it. I think you guys should go check them out. So, Jelusic. I'll have links to all of this music, both the videos I showed and their main website in the description of this podcast video. So, something I want to cover here real quick, and I don't know if this will help or not, but I am trying to promote the artists through this podcast. I've been in music since I was a young kid, as you heard earlier on the Who the Hell is David Miller segment. We'll have more of my story next podcast, but a little bit of the future for you. I was in radio for 15 years, and I've been a performer for about 40 some years. And so I kind of understand the copyright thing, and I do not want to tread on any of these artists' toes or take any money out of their pockets by any means. I want to put it in. I want you to discover these guys and then go find it and download their music. Go see them live. That's where they're going to make their money. And so I am not going to monetize this podcast through YouTube. That's not something I'm looking to do. At least I won't monetize any of the episodes where I cover artists that have copyrighted material. If I'm talking to a local artist or I'm talking to a major artist in an interview and they've given me permission to play their stuff, then I might monetize those videos through YouTube. But mainly I'm going to work on sponsorship situations and product placements, those types of things, because I want to help the artists. This is the whole reason I'm doing this. My whole life has been about sharing music with people. In fact, that's how I met my wife. You're going to get to hear that story someday. So it's really important to me that everybody knows that I'm doing this for those reasons and not just to make money. Sure, I want this to become something great, and I want lots of followers, and I want lots of sponsors, and I want all that stuff. But I want it to be a really cool product where you enjoy finding out about these artists. So that's what I'm trying to do with this here. And I hope you enjoyed our first segment of Look What I Found. And this was brought to you by our friends at Northside Bar and Grill.
To Northside Bar and Grill, an enduring local tradition for over 15 years, nestled in the heart of Northeast Bend, Oregon. We're more than a bar, we're a full-service experience uniting food, drinks, and entertainment. Our diverse food menu caters to all palates, while our bartenders pour the best drinks in town. Every Wednesday, we shine a spotlight on local talent with Mellow Wednesday. We liven up the weekends with music and dancing on Thursday and Saturday. For sports enthusiasts, we offer multiple screens for football and more. Try your luck with Oregon Lottery. The Northside Bar and Grill located on Boyd Acres in Bend, or on our website, northsidebarfun.com.
Sunday Guitars presents Rockipedia with David Miller. Still kicking it on Season 1, Episode 1. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. Tell your friends. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell, do all those things they tell you to do on these YouTube things. I always forget to say that. At least so far. But we've got something new for you right now. And that is this thing. Look at that. Miller Music and Media presents In Case You Missed It Music News. This is my chance to tell you what I think about the news and music. You're like, yay, we couldn't wait. Let's just enjoy my graphic for a moment. Miller Music and Media is my company. I do voiceovers, music beds, commercials, whatever you want. You can reach me through Rockipedia, RockipediaPodcast@gmail.com. And let me do some of your stuff for you. It'll be fun. All right, so in case you missed it, music news, we're going to tell you a little bit about what's going on in music. And we're going to start with these guys, Motley Crue. Motley. I am not a huge Motley Crue fan anymore. I know, that's kind of terrible, right? I was a huge Motley Crue fan. In fact, the first concert I ever saw in 1986, first time I ever went to a big arena concert, and it was Motley Crue and Autograph. Motley Crue was on the Theater of Pain tour. At some point, I'll tell you the whole story of that trek because it's hilarious. But we're talking about Motley Crue in 2024 now. They apparently have new music. Of course, they screwed over Mick Mars and threw him out of the band. And there's legal action, all kinds of stuff going on with that. And they got John 5, who I love. I saw John 5 a couple years ago, right here in my hometown of Bend. A little tiny theater. And I really enjoyed him. He's amazing talent. Loved him with Rob Zombie. Loved him with Marilyn Manson. But why he would join Motley Crue, I guess, he was a huge fan, and he's really good friends with Nikki Sixx. But man, the best Motley Crue was with John Corabi. I'm just going to say that right now. The 1994 album, fantastic. Never was a big Vince Neil fan. I always tolerated him because I liked the rest of the band. But anyway, that's enough of Dave's bitching about Motley Crue. They have new music coming out in 2024. And also, they did a secret show in London at the end of last year. And apparently they filmed and recorded it, and that may see the light of day. And then they're going to do another stadium tour. I don't know who asked for it, but apparently they think you want it. Maybe you do. Maybe you do. I know that they rode the coattails of Def Leppard to great success. That and their backing tracks keep them going, right? But you won't be without your Motley Crue in 2024, whether you want it or not. Now this guy, I'm talking about all the people that have trouble. And new music, apparently. Marilyn Manson's got new music coming out. Yeah. Marilyn Manson. The stories he can tell. And the stories people are telling about him. He's in all kinds of legal trouble, of course, over his touchy-feely aspects. So at least that's what people have said. I'm not saying that I necessarily believe it or not. I don't know. I am not privy to that. But I am a huge Marilyn Manson fan. I love his music. And I thought the way he came out and screwed with everybody and made all the people scared again, that was always good. You got to love that. I loved Kiss and Alice Cooper and all those guys for that reason. And Marilyn Manson was able to bring that into the 2000s in epic fashion. Apparently, he has recorded new music produced by Tyler Bates, and it could see a release here in 2024. So maybe that'll happen. This morning, fantastic stuff happened if you're a Black Crowes fan. So I'm taping this on the 12th of January. It'll drop tomorrow on the 13th. But Black Crowes released a brand new song today. And it's a good one. They've got a new album coming out. Sounds like it'll be in March. And it's called Happiness Bastards. Comes out on March 15th. And this is the first single. It's called Wanting and Waiting. And we're going to check out a little bit of it right now. All right? Oh, yeah. I'm digging it. Sounds like Black Crowes to me. When that Hammond comes in, man. Woo! All right. Black Crowes, Wanting and Waiting. The new single's out now. Happiness Bastards, their new album, coming out on March 15th. Loving me some new Black Crowes. I can't wait for that. I've seen those guys a few times, and they're always a fun hang when you get to go see them, right? All right, so now I have something more for you. As we're going through, in case you missed it, music news. On the 9th of January, there was a pretty cool thing going on. It was an AC/DC tribute of sorts to the fantastic singer, the original AC/DC singer, Bon Scott. And the guys that took part in this are amazing. It's an amazing lineup of people, honestly. We're talking Scott Ian from Anthrax, Josh Freese from Foo Fighters, Larry Lalonde from Primus, Mike Inez from Alice in Chains, Jay Buchanan, Scott Holiday from Rival Sons, and the drummer from Slayer, Dave Lombardo. He was there as well. They're all big fans of Bon Scott era AC/DC, and this was put together by a couple of comedians, funny enough, Dan Del Rey, who I'm not familiar with Dan, but Bill Burr. I'm a huge fan of Bill Burr, and I've known for years that Bill Burr is a drummer, and well, apparently he's also a big AC/DC fan, and they got together in Hollywood on the 9th of January to do a Bon Scott tribute. Now, Dan Del Rey, he sings, and he's a fairly good singer. Bill Burr's on drums in this video, and this is an array of those artists. I don't know who's on stage at what point, but you'll be able to check it out here. And this is them doing a little Walk All Over You from Highway to Hell. Oh, that's fun stuff. So I see Mike Inez and Scott Ian, along with Bill Burr and Dan Del Rey. And you gotta love you some Bon Scott. I don't care who you are. Bon Scott, he the man. For sure. Good stuff there. All right. Thank you so much for listening to that part. In case you missed it, music news. We'll be doing that each episode of Rockipedia. So now you know more than you did before. It's brought to you by Miller Music and Media, my own company, where I do voiceovers, music beds, produce all kinds of stuff. What do you need? Let me know.
Welcome to Northside Bar and Grill, an enduring local tradition for over 15 years, nestled in the heart of Northeast Bend, Oregon. We're more than a bar, we're a full-service experience uniting food, drinks, and entertainment. Our diverse food menu caters to all palates, while our bartenders pour the best drinks in town. Every Wednesday, we shine a spotlight on local talent with Mellow Wednesday. We liven up the weekends with music and dancing on Thursday and Saturday. For sports enthusiasts, we offer multiple screens for football and more. Try your luck with Oregon Lottery. The Northside Bar and Grill located on Boyd Acres in Bend, or on our website, northsidebarfun.com.
All right. I think that's going to do it for this first episode from Season 1 of Rockipedia with David Miller. It's been fun. Thanks. Thanks for checking it out. I hope you return. Make sure you hit the subscribe and the little bell and all that stuff so you know when I'm doing new episodes. I'm going to try to do them every Friday. I'm not going to swear to that. You know how the world can be. You know how things can happen. But we're going to be having fun. And if you would like to be a part of this, please do so. Hit the comments. Throw me an email, rockipediapodcast@gmail.com. Or, do whatever you want to do. Share it with your friends. Talk bad about it. I don't care. Just talk about it, all right? And let's get it out there and see what's going on. If you have a business and you would like to be a sponsor or you would like to advertise or whatever you want to do, please do it. rockipediapodcast@gmail.com is the best way to get in touch. We will have another episode next week. Also watch for shorts in between. You never know when I'm going to pop on and do something. We also have a secondary channel called Keep Your Head Up. And it's a channel targeted to help with mental health of musicians. It's just inspirational things right now, some little videos I'm producing to try to talk to musicians. We get in our own heads, us musicians. We get in here and it's dark, and sometimes we get lost in there. Creatives are that way. Creatives are very, very hard on themselves. We can have a whole room full of people telling us that we're wonderful, and we won't believe it. So, and sometimes that's a little hard to take. And there are things about performing and being an artist and putting yourself out there that chip away at your self-esteem sometimes. And so we're trying to help with that a little bit. And eventually we'll have some more content over there. So check it out, subscribe, hit the bell over there too, and mind your mind. Keep your mental health, all right? Keep your head up. Ho! And anyway, so I'll be back next week with more fun. I do have a really cool interview coming up in a couple weeks. First part of February, I'll be speaking to a gentleman by the name of Brandon Cook. And he is a member of Black and Blue. You remember those guys from the 80s? He's currently a touring member with them, and they're getting ready to do the Monsters of Rock cruise here soon. And he's also a leader, original member, songwriter, and guitarist for the band Loyal Order. They had some big hit songs, some big charting songs late last year off their debut album. We'll be talking to Brandon about that. He also played Slash in a Guns N' Roses tribute out of Portland, Oregon, and he'll tell us what that was like. So Brandon's pretty cool. We're going to talk to him in a couple of weeks. Next week, I'm putting together all kinds of stuff. Be somewhat similar to this. We'll give you another edition of Who the Hell is David Miller? We'll give you some more Look What I Found, and another edition of In Case You Missed It, and who knows what else I'm going to come up with. You never know, do you? No, you don't. That's why you got to tune in every time. Tune in to Rockipedia with David Miller, all right? I say tune in a lot because I used to be in radio. Really, I just want you to watch my podcast, all right? Peace.